welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry. And this week we are going to go over Kyle Pitts for the draft profile. Kyle Pitts was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school and was a second-ranked tight end in the nation. He received multiple offers from big-time schools like Alabama, Ohio State, and others, but opted to go to Florida. It's a beach. You got to love the beach.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's a big-name school, too.
Yeah. Well, at Florida, he didn't see the field much as a freshman, but became the focal point of the offense his sophomore and senior season, earning him 2 first-team All-SEC team, and he was awarded the John Mackey Award this year, which is given to the nation's top tight end.
I think you said his sophomore and senior season. He is just a junior, so
sophomore
and junior season. You probably meant, yeah. So that is the thing. He is a junior coming out. He's massive, 6'6", 240. He's a huge tight end.
Yeah.
Just looking at his stats, like you said, in 2018, his freshman season didn't play much. 2019, he had 54 receptions, 649 yards, and 5 touchdowns. This past year, his junior year, in only 8 games, 43 receptions, 770 yards, and 12 touchdowns. So in a normal season where they play 12 or 13 games, that's over 1,000 yards and probably 17, 18 touchdowns. So that's a monster season. Pros and cons, since it sounds like you might not be quite as high on him as I am, I'm going to read the pros. I'll let you go into the cons. He's freaky athletic. He's huge. He's a very good route runner. He makes clean breaks. He runs routes like the few guys that you see coming out of college, especially at that position. He's able to track the ball in the air really well. If you look at some of his highlights and some of the catches he makes, they're tight coverage because a lot of times he's going up against DBs. And that's one of the other pros for him is he can play that X receiver role if you need him to. He's a big guy in the end zone or red zone. He's going to be huge. He's a matchup nightmare. He's too big for DBs and he's too fast for linebackers. And again, if you go and you watch some of the tape from him in college, he's the real deal. But there are some cons.
Yes. He needs to get more powerful. If he goes into the NFL, he's going to get pushed around. And that goes back to
240 though.
He needs to get more powerful. Like he needs to get better at blocking. You said he can line up as the X receiver. That's another issue. He didn't line up as a tight end most of the time. He lined up outside like a receiver. So he has good receiving skills, but he lacks any blocking ability. But he lacks a lot of blocking. And I get it. You're looking for more of a passing catch tight end, but those are his cons.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say he's not going to be a good tight end.
Yeah.
But he needs some polishing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. As do a lot of guys coming out of college. He, again, and I watched a video basically that sort of looked at him as a blocker. And he definitely is not a great blocker, like you said. But he's not terrible. He gives effort. He just needs better technique, I think. And that's something that you can learn. That's something that the Panthers or whatever team that drafts him will teach him. But you can't teach raw athleticism and you can't teach that size. And he's got great hands. Like he has all of everything that you would want out of a big pass catching tight end. He's got. The Panthers haven't had a guy like this ever. I mean, they've had Greg Olsen, who's a great tight end, a very good pass catching tight end. And if we could draft another Greg Olsen at 8, I think I'd probably sign up for that.
If we could absolutely. Because Greg was a great blocker too.
Yeah, a guaranteed 1,000-yard receiver when healthy, 10 touchdowns. I mean, that's a guy that you need on the team. I think Teddy very much was limited this year because that tight end position there was nobody there to catch the ball. If you add a big body in the middle of the field who can take advantage of those mismatches, that frees up the slot receiver. It frees up the end receivers, going downfield, crossing the middle of the field. I mean, it opens up a lot of things. it also helps your, running back or receiver catching the ball out of the backfield. I mean, it just opens up a lot of things. So if this guy can be, if you could draft Travis Kelce or George Kittle or Darren Waller at number 8, wouldn't you do it?
Yeah. But none of those guys went in the first round. None of them.
No, they didn't. But
Waller was, I believe, undrafted. Kelce was a later round pick, and same with George Kittle. George Kittle came out as a blocking tight end. I think he was drafted in the 5th or 6th round. I'm not 100% sure on that. Now, you're talking about drafting him in the first round. Here's the list since 2014 of first round tight ends: OJ Howard, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, Hayden Hurst, TJ Hawkinson, Noah Fant. Tight ends in the first round don't typically pan out. I think Rob Gronkowski is the only one I can actually think of in recent memory.
He turned out pretty well.
Yes, he did. But that was also like 15 years ago?
I mean, Hawkinson's been very productive.
It's a first round pick. If we're going to go with first round pick for offensive weapon, we're going to be DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson are free agents next year. We also have Curtis Samuel, a free agent this year. If we're going to go offensive weapon, I'd prefer to go receiver-wise, go Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. I think going tight end would be a boneheaded mistake at 8 in this pick. I get it. We need to. I am not saying that he is not going to be a good tight end. I just don't think you can bank on him becoming that elite tight end.
I mean, you could read a list of first-round receivers that have gone bust just as easily as those tight ends that you read, just because they have.
But you can also read off hits, and you can't read off hits for tight ends.
Hits? What do you mean?
Like,
gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. But if you did you watch tape of him?
I did watch tape of him.
Didn't he look amazing catching the ball?
He looks like a decent receiver, and I think
decent receiver. Yeah, he looks like a decent wide receiver, and he's playing.
He looks
tight
like
end.
A receiver, but he's not. I don't think he's really a tight end. And I just
because he doesn't block. I mean, is Kelce great at blocking?
Kelce is a blocker,
No.
yes. He's not great at blocking,
no,
but I just do not see drafting a tight end in a top 10 pick. It doesn't seem to ever work out. If you can guarantee, I just don't. It doesn't work out.
I mean, you can't guarantee anything.
No,
you can't guarantee anything, right?
And I'm not.
So you would rather draft Trey Lance than Kyle Pitts?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think Kyle Pitts would be like my number 2 on our list so far.
He's my last
guys we've talked about.
I don't want a tight end in the first top 10 pick. He's my last.
Jerry, I would like to make you a wager right now.
Okay.
Regarding Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
Let's assume health. Let's assume he plays like at least 14 games next year.
I just
think he's going to be a very good wide receiver or a very good tight end in the NFL. Okay. I think, and I say wide receiver, I think he's going to put up wide receiver type numbers like Kelce does. I'll bet you that he is 800-yard receiver with 10 touchdowns next year.
Oh, deal. Done. I'll take that.
Okay. Let's put it down. I don't know where we're going to put it, but we're going to put it down. All right. Let's go through our questions here. Will this player fall to the Panthers at 8?
Yes, absolutely. I don't see him getting picked higher than
I think 8 is probably his ceiling. Like that's where it starts for him, I think. Let me ask you this. You don't want him in the first round at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does this player fit the current roster?
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
we need a tight end, and he would upgrade. Be an upgrade. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Would you be excited to draft this player? I think we've established that.
No.
Now let's be clear here. Jerry would be ecstatic to draft him in the 4th round.
Oh yes, I'd be in the 2nd round. I'd be ecstatic to grab him, but I 8th overall pick in a team that needs so many players. Like I said, we're gonna need a wide receiver. We're gonna need offensive tackle. We're gonna need linebacker, defensive back.
You're discounting the tight end though. I think you discount the tight end too much.
I discount the tight end because I'm not sure
on teams that have great tight ends, they're always in the mix. I mean, discount the Raiders this year, but even they were in the mix. You know, Kelsey, Gronkowski, they have led their teams in terms of receiving. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs, but Travis Kelsey is like their main guy in terms of receptions and everything.
I just don't see tight ends panning out that well. It's harder to hit on tight ends, it seems like.
Well, you're looking at the history, and that's a smart thing to do. Everything that I've seen and read about this guy just seems like he's a no-brainer that he's gonna hit. But I understand that. I mean, we have our opinions. Big board, we're not going to agree on this.
I have him last.
You have him 4th so far. Just to recap, we have Justin Fields as our number 1 guy that we've talked about so far. Mm-hmm. Micah Parsons number 2, Trey Lance number 3. You've got Pitts 4. We'll just put Pitts at 4 to make it easy here. I think I'd rather have. I think he'd probably be at 3 for me. I think he'd be above Trey Lance for me. I'd rather have Fields or Parsons. Although I got to be honest with you, after our discussion of Fields last week, I went and watched some more stuff about him. Might not be quite as high on him as I was in our conversation.
I mean, there's issues in his game. I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I think he can clean it up.
The potential is sky high.
Yeah, but he is not. There's a reason why there's Trevor Lawrence and everybody else.
Yeah, and there's a reason why Justin Fields, I've seen some mocks where he drops completely out of the top 10. So
yeah, we'll see how that actually plans out. That'll be a fun watch.
Hey, we have a 5-star iTunes review. Hands down, the best Panthers podcast. I absolutely love this podcast. It's fun and entertaining. It's like sitting around with your buddies discussing the Panthers and football in general. Give it a listen. You won't regret it. 5 stars. That's from BP326. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's from Robert, by the way. That's Robert. Yeah, thanks, man. That's what we're going for here, right?
Yeah.
It's just 2 guys who love the Panthers sitting around talking about the Panthers. We're not professionals. We're just fans. But we spend
do research.
Time.
I was gonna say
we spend a crap ton of time researching the Panthers, listening to things, reading things, going as deep as you can go without press credentials, pretty much. And we hope to get press credentials one day. But tell your friends, everybody. Please leave us 5-star iTunes review. It really helps us. It helps get our name out there a little bit. Tell your friends. And we just appreciate all the listeners that we have, and definitely appreciate you for leaving that review.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. And if you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on our show like the one we did earlier today. Yep. And next week, we'll be taking a look at offensive tackle Penei Sewell, and hopefully I will get his name right.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. That's our first non-quarterback. Well, actually, we've been pretty good at spreading these out. So, but definitely a massive need for the Panthers offensive tackle, and he's like the Kyle Pitts of offensive tackle.
Oh, I'm very excited to watch his tape. To be honest,
he would be just an incredible left tackle for the Panthers for years to come. But will he make it at 8? We'll talk about it. Until then, everybody, stay safe out there and keep pounding.